Welcome to Dollars and Cents. Our podcast is designed to provide listeners with financial advice in a language you can understand. Created and hosted by Marc Freedman, President and CEO at Freedman Financial, he discusses timely topics that help individuals and families make smart financial decisions. Count on lots of energy, candid discussion, and a few laughs. And now, here's your host of Dollars and Cents, Marc Freedman of Freedman Financial.
Welcome back to another edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial. My name is Marc Freedman.
And I'm Christian Karcher.
And we're happy to have you here today. Marion's not with us today. She is actually in Paris.
Lucky her.
Not a bad place to be, right?
Avoiding the heat of this week.
She is. This week has been very, very warm here in Massachusetts. But what she did miss out was the fact that the Celtics won their 18th championship last night. It was a great event, great time to be there. I was there, brought my kids, never been part of a national championship win before with all those confetti bombs and all the other stuff that they do. It was pretty exciting, but I will admit that after they presented the trophy, I got out of town. The streets were a little crazy. There was a lot of people out there, but it was, look, I'm old. It's it's not for me to be doing that anymore. So my kids must have a little bit of that oldness in them too, because they were very happy to just get home afterwards. It was also late, but very exciting, and not sure if we'll make it to the parade, but the parade is on Friday. So very excited here in Boston. A lot of enthusiasm here. It's nice to bring a championship back. After all, it has only been 5.5 years.
Oh, wow. What a struggle for you guys.
The struggle is real here in Boston to not have a championship for a while. But it is kind of crazy that that's all it's been. But, you know, we're very fortunate here in town. Anyways, we are here to provide you with some financial advice in a language you can understand. And I was talking to Christian earlier, and we were trying to come up with a topic. And one of the things that has been discussed around the office lately quite a bit is this issue of cash. There's a lot of people with cash and a lot of cash in the bank.
Absolutely. And we've been encouraging people. If you listen to our shows regularly, you'll know. Once interest rates started going up, it was a regular talking point. Hey, make sure that your money is not just sitting in your checking account earning 0.0001%. There's real interest rates out there. Make sure you're looking around and finding opportunities to earn some extra interest on the money laying around.
Yeah, and every day when we're visiting with clients or new prospects that come in the door, it always amazes me how many people have not taken advantage of the higher interest rates that are available at the bank. They go, oh, my bank doesn't offer that. Whether they do or not doesn't really matter. There are plenty of banks that do. Now, you're not going to get a high interest rate on your checking account. You might not even get it on some of your savings accounts. Passbooks are gone, folks. But CDs and some of these money market funds are very, very attractive. And they've been attractive for a while. In fact, one of the things that I never realized that we'd be offering here at Freedman Financial through LPL is FDIC insured CDs.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, with interest rates when they were, a few years ago, there was zero, right?
Right, and it just wasn't worthwhile.
Didn't even know they were available. But the CDs that we're finding are just as competitive as some of the other banks that are out there. But now that we've been through COVID, we've come out of COVID, I think successfully come out of COVID. The market has been really good the past year, though as people look towards the end of the year and they think the election, they think the economy, they think all sorts of different issues, a lot of people are worried and they have a lot of money in the bank, don't they?
Well, yeah, that's something that we've really seen over the last few years is, when banks are paying interest, people are more incentivized to make sure that they keep some money in the bank. And it's building up over time. And we're seeing more and more people who have, over the last 4 or 5 years, really started to sock away larger amounts of money in bank accounts. And now they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, I'm getting this great interest rate, but realistically, this money is not short-term money any longer. This is money that I should be looking at for long-term. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And they're kind of wondering, what is the next step?
And it kind of crept up on them, just little incremental savings that they put a little money here, a little money there. But, our rule had been you want to keep between, 3 to 6 months living expenses in a very liquid bank account. And now we're seeing people with 2, 3, and 4 years of expenses sitting in that bank account, or bank accounts, as I should call it. And on a side note, the one thing that I'm always blown away with is some people have like 10, 15 bank accounts. And I don't understand why. So I'm just saying that. It was just a noticing, but everybody has a rationale for it. Well, I pay my grocery bills out of this when we do the electric bill here. This one goes to the second home. But there's no need for it anymore. There's no need to keep all that complexity. And one of the things that we try to do when it comes to cash and other types of financial instruments is to try to help you consolidate things and make your life a little easier.
Absolutely. Simplifying is the name of the game, particularly, we run into people who've, over all these years, someone had a toaster here, someone had a good interest rate over here, someone had a home equity line here, and all of a sudden you've got 15 different accounts, and we're looking at it and we're going, okay, there's $250 in this account. Why is that there? And they say, oh, that's the minimum to keep the account open. And then the next question is, when was the last time any money was added or taken away of this account? And they said, never.
It just sits there. And there's no need for it. There is absolutely no need for it. But cash is one of those things that also provides a level of comfort, a level of peace of mind. It's knowing that if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, there's cash. Now there's cash that's digitally saved because, just to be sure we're all clear here, when you go to the bank, there isn't a drawer with your name on it that has stacks and stacks of cash in it. You do know that, right? It's all shared. But there are those that have safe deposit boxes, as we find out, that like to put a lot of cash in those boxes. And those can be all different numeric amounts. Remember, the money in the safe deposit box is guaranteed to earn 0 interest. It just sits there. But I'm not a fan of doing that. I think there are other strategies, and I think the banks are very safe these days. But there is a lot of money in cash, right?
There absolutely is, and we're running into it more and more.
And what's some of the advice that we're offering to people?
Well, so we really bring it back to the whole financial plan, and we say, money is a tool. You don't go into your garage and look at your snowblower that you haven't used in 5 years and just go, okay, I'm just going to leave that sitting there. You say, what's the purpose of this thing? And if there isn't a purpose for it, you get it out or you exchange it for maybe a lawnmower, right? So,
maybe. I'm playing.
No, that's okay.
So I'm thinking of my Peloton that's sitting up in my attic right now.
Yep.
And I keep paying for it, actually. So I don't use it very often. And we have all these extra rooms in the house, and we never even sit in them. But we still have them, don't we?
Well, yeah, it's a little hard to exchange a room, but dollars are fungible, and I would say the Peloton is definitely fungible, where you say, what is the purpose of this cash? And we'll often ask people that question, and they'll say, oh, it's my emergency fund. And when the answer is it's my emergency fund and it's 5 years of cash, well, that would be certainly some kind of an emergency.
That's really cataclysmic tragedy there.
And so what we try to do is we try to talk with people and say, okay, what is actually a reasonable emergency fund? What else might you need cash for? Are there expenses coming up?
Yep.
And then take a look at, maybe that's half of your cash. Maybe you've got another half sitting there and you really say, I can't actually see myself spending this money in the next 5 to 10 years at least. And that's when we start having the conversation of, well, could this be better off put into a diversified investment strategy to help you when you get to retirement and you need to be taking money or you need money for a car 10, 15, 20 years down the line, where can you draw it from? Well, that's when we start looking at it.
Yeah, and I think another reason why cash is built up in a lot of bank accounts is people got scared of investing in bonds. Remember, when interest rates were going up, a long time ago, there was no interest at the bank, really even poor interest that we were getting in bonds. But as interest rates on bonds started going up, the value of people's bonds went down. And most people have a difficult time understanding the mathematics that go along with bond convergence and bond movements. And I'm not going to get into all the details of all of that. But people did see their bond portfolio go down, and they thought, I wasn't aware that bonds could go down. And so they pulled out. Now, over time, a lot of these bonds have come back as they've readjusted themselves, especially the bond funds have. But when you're seeing your bond fund down and you say, well, I can get 3%, 4%, 5% at the bank, sometimes you're willing to bite the bullet. And And I think that happened to a lot of people in the public, and that's why there's so much cash sitting around in banks right now. But those interest rates aren't going to last. We know that interest rates are going to start coming down. In fact, I will admit that I thought interest rates would come down sooner than they have, but they are going down. Even the Fed chairman has even said that rates are coming down. They're coming down. So when that happens, what happens to CD rates and money market rates?
Right. And so the CD rates you lock in for a certain amount of time. So those will stay until you have to renew your CD, and then they'll move down. Money market rates are going to change right away. So when the Federal Reserve says we're going to reduce the interest rate on short-term money, which is how they adjust it, that's going to affect money markets right away.
Sure is.
And that's, of course, going to filter down into the savings accounts, the checking accounts, and what all the banks are offering as far as deposits.
Yeah, so I think it's really important that you take a look at your overall net worth. Take a look at what you have in stocks, what you have in bonds, and what you have in cash, and say, is this the asset allocation that I still want? It may be time for that special term that we use all the time called rebalancing. It might make sense to try to move some of that money out of cash. Move it into bonds, move it into stocks. Take a look at your overall situation. And I'm not just talking about your investment portfolio. I'm talking about everything. Money that's coming into the house, money that's going out of the house, and all the other assets and resources and liabilities that you have. When you work with us as financial planners, as certified financial planners is what we are, we take a look at the big picture. Our objective is to place your interests first, and that's what we do all the time. It starts with understanding where you are financially, giving you guidance on what it is that you're doing well, where we see some weaknesses. We call them a SWOT analysis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say that we'll look at your strengths, we'll look at your weaknesses, the opportunities off of those weaknesses, and what threats are out there.
Yeah.
And help analyze your financial situation to help minimize those weaknesses and threats and strengthen the strengths and the opportunities.
Yeah, and I think as financial advisors, that's really the critical part of what we do. I think all too often as individuals, we might want to focus exclusively on the strengths, and sometimes we worry too much about the weaknesses that we know that exist. But there are opportunities that are out there, and you need to understand what they are. So if now's the time for you to get serious about your financial planning and investment management needs, I hope you'll give us a call. Our phone number is 978-531-8108. That's 978-531-8108. Or you can learn more about us on that thing called the interweb, internet, whatever it is.
You really are old, Mark.
Yeah, I'm really old. The inter thing. It's our website, freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
2 E's and a D.
Financial.com. And on that website, you can find how we work, the types of clients that we serve. You can learn about our bios and everybody else that works in our office. You can learn about the fees that we charge. But also, you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter. It comes out each and every Friday at 10:30 in the morning. Over 7,000 people subscribe to it. Some are individuals like you. Some are financial advisors and professionals like us who like to share information and learn from us as well. Once again, visit our website, freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
2 E's and a D.
Financial.com. He's great at that, isn't he? That's going to do it for us this week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll be back again with more financial advice in a language you can understand. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
During today's Dollars and Cents episode with Freedman Financial, your hosts may have discussed specific financial planning and investment ideas that are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Please remember that investing involves risk and may include loss of principal. Although the money market fund seeks to preserve the value of your investment at $1 per share, it is possible to lose money by investing in the fund. Always consult a certified financial planner professional, qualified attorney, or tax advisor prior to investing to determine what is appropriate for you. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.